Hey, WokeNFree Nation, Newsly is an audio app for iOS and Android. It picks up web articles about the most trending topics on the web at any given moment and reads them to you in a natural human voice.
For the first time in the history of the internet, the entire web becomes listenable. Browse articles from topics you choose and start playing. Stop scrolling, start listening.
You can follow any topic as specific as you like, from sports, science to Bitcoin, or even one of your favorite celebrities. It will find you the latest articles and read them to you aloud.
And they have podcasts as well. Explore trending podcasts from over 50 countries. Our podcast, WokeNFree, is there too.
Now let's get into the episode. Hi, it's Natasha.
And Khalil.
And we are the co-hosts of
WokeNFree.
Thank you for tuning in to our 275th episode of WokeNFree. If you've been tuning in every week for WokeNFree Wednesday, you know that WokeNFree is all about being real and honest with each other and you. We talk about everything and anything important to us, you, the world, and nothing is off the table. This week, we're doing a WokeNFree review of Lopez versus Lopez. So, lots to unpack there. Before we dive into the subject for this week's episode, a couple of things to go over. Have you downloaded this episode? Not just listened to it, but downloaded it on WokeNFree.com through the Podbean app. If not, please do so immediately. If you have the app, you can put in your comments and you can tell us what you think about Lopez versus Lopez. And if you say, well, I would love to, but I listen to podcasts on a device where I cannot download another app, a little bit of sadness that's felt there, but no fret. You can still support our show by going to WokeNFree.com, going on the Listen tab, and then picking your platform of choice where you're going to follow and subscribe to the show.
And frets are on a guitar. Just to let people know.
Oh, I just say the phrase. I don't know.
Okay.
Are you saying true things?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Guitar people would know that. They call them frets. All the little
strings?
lines. No, the lines that go up and down the guitar. That's how you play different, I think different octaves is what it is. But I could be corrected. But either way, there's different frets. Like, I don't know how to play the guitar yet.
Actual thing. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's a real, that's why that's interesting. You use that choice of words.
Okay. Interesting. So go to WokeNFree.com, go on the Listen tab, and then follow and subscribe to WokeNFree on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, subscribe to our YouTube channel, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Samsung Podcasts. We're everywhere. So make sure you do that on WokeNFree.com. You can also click to subscribe to follow the show through the Podbean app. And on social, if you ever want to engage, follow, subscribe to us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, and LinkedIn at WokeNFree. And then if you have like 90 seconds, which is more of a statement, less of a question, we'd love for you to give our show a review on your platform of choice, wherever your dealer's choice there. So again, go to WokeNFree.com, go on the Listen tab, and then pick where you would like to review the show at. I'm going to kick it to you now.
All right. Thank you. And as always, before we start off the conversation that you introduced so lovely, we like to share a little bit about ourselves. This week, we're asking something that is very important to my heart, and I hope that it warms your heart as well. Would you rather savory or sweet popcorn?
You're a weirdo.
I'm just in the holiday spirits is what I think it is. And that's the kind of emotions that I know. Don't say it.
Shake my head.
Just think about all the emotions that are coming off of me.
I'm going to drink my water and mind my business. That's what I'm going to do.
And I'll be the emotional one here.
Okay, well, this is about being WokeNFree, not about telling tales. So, to answer your question, I would go for sweet popcorn because my go-to in anything in life is something sweet and yummy. And so, savory, I don't know what you were going there. I don't know. That seemed... my mind was going to meats, different... Right? Yeah, I was going to different
People
places.
think that when that's not what that means
I don't
necessarily.
know what that... So, I like stuff sweet and sugary and delicious, and so that's my go-to. How about you?
So, when I thought of savory, I thought of popcorn that was salted, That's what I thought of it as. So
okay.
That's my favorite type of popcorn. I don't need any sugar on my popcorn.
Like
just
caramel.
have the butter and the salt and ready to go. That's good. And if you don't have the butter, I mean, throw the salt in there and it's still good. Mm-hmm. But I think butter and salt is my perfect popcorn that I can just eat forever. I just keep eating it.
Yes, you do. You'll eat till it makes you sick, actually.
Yeah, it's hard for me. I can eat a whole bucket kind of thing.
Yeah, no self-control there.
No, but it tastes too good. And I'm not even into salt. It's just if it's on popcorn.
That's interesting.
Or on pretzels. Those are my things that I like. Like I'll eat. I like salt on pretzels too, but
Me too.
On other stuff, I try not to. I actually don't add salt to stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'll have it on fries sometimes, but I don't even need it on fries. I have it sometimes. I can have fries without salt. If, but popcorn and pretzels, gotta have the salt on it. It's gotta be, and for me, it's gotta be nice and savory, just like a show that we started watching.
I was wondering when you were
Lopez versus Lopez is very. I wouldn't call it a sweet show. I think of it more as a savory.
Definitely savory, for sure. Yeah, not sweet at all.
Some of the jokes they make is not for the young-hearted there,
or the faint of heart. Yeah,
yeah. But I just think about the youngsters. Like, think of the children. Can they handle some of the jokes that are on Lopez?
What's the question you're asking?
I'm trying to brainstorm on questions. So maybe we should actually get into what is Lopez all about, or is it Lopez versus Lopez?
Lopez versus.
It seems like it should be Lopez Lopez, but all right.
It should be Lopez Lopez.
But it's Lopez versus
adorable, actually. But it's versus Lopez, yeah.
Just to make it simple for the English-speaking people.
See,
that's what they did.
As shared on Variety, the show tells the story of a working-class, old-school Latino, George Lopez, who moves in with his modern Gen Z daughter, Mayan Lopez, his actual biological daughter, as they rebuild their dysfunctional relationship one argument at a time. And literally, if you watch the show, in the first second of the show, you will start laughing hysterically. The show is filmed in a way that is just like so funny because it includes little snippets of social media, aka TikTok videos. And if you're a fan of TikTok, it's very funny, some of the skits that they like incorporate social media within it, and it's absolutely hilarious. I love that George Lopez is doing something with his daughter. I think that's super unique, and I'm absolutely in love with the show and the writing. It's hilarious. How about you?
So when I think of this show, Lopez versus Lopez, I look at the title, and that's actually what it's about. It's about these clashing ideas between one generation of Lopez versus the other generation. Because you get those old school ideas versus the new school ideas, and you see people they're just like, I guess, perplexed by each other's values. They're like, what? How could you think like that? And then there's lots of jokes made around the generational differences. So it's very funny seeing that clash.
Absolutely. So then begs the question, would you say you're a fan of the show so far? And it just started a couple of weeks ago. So if you have not seen this on NBC or Peacock, you definitely have time to double down and get caught up. But also, would you recommend our listeners to watching the show? And if so, why?
I would definitely say, as of now, I'm definitely a fan of the show, but that's because I'm a fan of George Lopez. I think his jokes are hilarious, and what I like about this show is I'm pretty sure he wrote a lot of these jokes on here. I mean, his daughter might have wrote some jokes too. I don't know how, like, her comedy stuff.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with mine.
I'm not sure, but I know some of these jokes are they're like classic George Lopez. It's all written all over it. So if you like his stand-up, then I think you'll like this show that he's doing. Yeah. That's the kind of thing I'd say. So go see it if you're into, and if you haven't seen his stand-up, you should see that too.
Oh gosh,
that'll give you an idea what this is about. I would actually say the show is a little cleaner than some of the stand-up stuff he does, because the stand-up he goes in, but the jokes some of them go kind of, they don't go like super far though. They're not like whoa. But I wouldn't say there's like rated R jokes. It's still
it's a family show, right?
Yeah, so you still can watch it in front of the kids, and there's like jokes that kids won't get.
And then her son in the show, like.
Yeah. And then there's a young, there's a young kid in there, so there's jokes.
It's a family show, yeah.
Yeah, families still can watch it, and they throw in the adult jokes that
KJ
kids
loves
don't
it. Every time we watch it, he's absolutely mesmerized by it. And
that is the true statement.
He loves the incorporation of Latino culture and language and all the Espanol. It's fabulous. All right, so I would also agree with you. To date, I would say I am a fan of the show for the following reasons. First, it is actually generally funny. Like you said, the writing and delivery is hilarious and hits very well. I would also say it's interesting how the show incorporates real world issues like economics or poverty or parent-child issues and family dysfunction or multiracial families, like things that are actually happening in real time in real world within the view or the construct of comedy. And I think that that's important because, these are things that you wouldn't necessarily think to laugh at, but it's a reality. A lot of us come from mixed racial backgrounds or have grown up and had the peanut butter but didn't have the jam, and had lights turned off or had, all sorts of different economical or racial issues. So why not, add in a little bit of humor, make it modernized, add in some social media things, and there you go. And I would recommend that folks watch the show because it's really important to demonstrate to these TV show producers and creators that not only content like this is wanted, but it's needed, and especially to focus on a community that is going to be the majority of folks in the United States in the upcoming future. And it's Latin culture, same as Black culture, are cultures that are dynamic and beautiful and mesmerizing, and we not only want to watch it, but television needs to represent the communities that are watching it. And so yes, and yes to all of that.
Oh, all right. So you answer yes on each accord. Mm-hmm. Then you probably could tell our WokeNFree Nation, is there anything else you would like to see on the show?
Yeah, for this first season, I'd be interested in seeing more growth conversations between George and Mayan. Family dysfunction is not something that you can tackle in an episode, right? Okay, so we're just going to talk about why I'm upset with this parent, or it's an ongoing conversation. So through the comedy and through the growth of their relationship in the show, I'd like to see that continue to play out, and maybe even see conversations that involve therapists or stuff like that, just to help people understand that family dysfunction needs to be normalized in how we talk about it and create content around it, but then also it is a journey, not a destination, to have healing take place. So we have to have multiple conversations. We have to see that going forward. Also, there's, not for nothing, but within the show write-up, George, Mayan, and her partner is not Latino. He is a white man. And so there are lots of cracks and jokes around, they use the derogatory term gringo, and, they make fun of the kind of the outsider in the family. And, I get that that's an easy joke to go to, but there are people who are Latino and white, or Latino and Black, or, things that they're multiracial. And so I would like to see a little bit of that calm down, just because, again, we don't want to ostracize mixed race people in this society, because at the end of the day, that's beautiful, right? If more and more people get together from different backgrounds, that just creates a bigger blend of beauty and diversity and
is it being ostracized though?
Well, they constantly other him, right? Or they
do other him, but he's just a white person. He's not.
But then it plays down on the son, right? Because George always goes down to his grandson, and he's like, "Oh, if that's really your father," and he's only doing that because his father is the white guy in the thing. And it's
does that hurt multiracial? I mean, I don't see the dig at
biracial. It's a biracial.
But what's the dig? It's kind of why shouldn't white people be more upset than the biracial?
Well, what I'm saying is I don't think that's healthy, joking, right? To joke around the fact that one parent is white and one parent is a person of color, and you're constantly going to make content around, you're going to say the G word. I don't know if it's appropriate to say gringo, but yeah.
God?
You're now listening to WokeNFree.
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 WokeNFree, a podcast that keeps it real and keeps it honest.
Gringo.
Oh.
Yeah, that's hilarious that you said God, though.
Because you said the G word. That's what I would think when I first
But, I don't know. I just I think it gets old. It's okay.
It's old, but I still don't.
They keep going on and on.
I don't see how it hurts biracial people.
What I'm saying is we don't want to normalize joke. Making fun of people who come from more than one background. And so That's what I'm saying.
Because I feel like the jokes are tailored to the white person, not to the son.
Yes,
who's
they
biracial.
are. But we like how.
Not to say that's right.
It's
or
not
whatever.
funny. Like how many times can you call someone gringo? Like,
well, you do it different ways, right? You don't say that.
I know. It's like I'll have tacos. You want, sourdough bread? Like, I mean, come on, man. Like,
you could say you have a soup,
Yeah, and I don't know. It's to me, it's like it loses.
You think it's just kind of like being a dead horse with the old joke?
Well, it's not funny, right? Like it's messed up.
I mean, you're saying that.
So,
I think.
But I mean,
I'll admit it. Funny things are funny. Stereotypes are funny. Not that they're right.
Correct.
But sometimes they're really funny.
People feel a certain kind of way, and sometimes they hide that, especially if they come from a background of, like, they are, one parent is a person of color and one parent is not. Sometimes people feel like they have to hide that because they don't want to be ostracized for, like, not being fully a person of color,
but again,
right? How society interprets that.
Does the child care that they're one parent's being made fun of and the other's not? I mean, does it really hurt them?
In this show, the little boy...
The kid doesn't even care,
He doesn't
right?
really care, but he's also like a little kid, right? He's like 7 or something.
Yeah, so he doesn't know yet. So you think if he gets older and they're always making fun of his dad, it would be an effect on him?
Why are we normalizing the mocking of mixed race?
Because here's what
families?
I say. I mean, I don't see that as... I'm just saying, I'm just tired of it being... How come they're just picking on the white guy? I mean, okay, you do it once, but... How many times do you make that joke?
That's what I'm saying.
I don't see it as a biracial issue. I just see it as like a white joke issue.
Well, I just think it's just not helpful.
Tailored to one person.
And if it was the inverse, people would be all up in arms, right?
I know, that's why I say I'm not for it.
If it was a white family and a white father
person.
and a black mom.
But we have that already, though.
People would go in.
Go look at old shows. That was very standard to make fun of the one black guy on the show.
So it's like...
Because what they're doing is they're basically making fun of the token. Like, he's the one white guy on the show. And
if you wanted to if you were like, he shouldn't be here, well, then why did you write that character in, right? Like, why?
Well, you write it in, I think it's a diversity play, right?
But mine could have been with another person of color. She didn't have to be with a white person.
But I'm saying on these shows, they like to show every different race, right? They always want to include to sprinkle it in to make it a diverse cast.
I don't know if that phrase, all the different races. I think they like to have one type of color.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get everybody in there, right?
A white person.
I mean, you could get everybody in, but then
why not have cast?
That's a different show, though.
Why couldn't they have been Latino and then her partner was Native, right, or Asian or Indian, right? Like
Filipino,
different, why did it have to go that direction? So that's what I'm saying.
Alaskans and
it could have been really different, but it's But either way, there's that, and then also I would be interested, lastly, in just seeing more character development around Mayan's character, because she's a mother, she's a vet tech in the show, but like, what are her goals as a mom? What are her goals as a woman? What are her goals with just beyond? Like, I'm just curious to see more character development. I understand it's a comedy and stuff like that, or a sitcom, but I still think there's an opportunity, again, to normalize the idea that like a woman is more than what her job is, or how many, or if she has children, but like who she is as a person. So I know that maybe they just haven't gone that far. But yeah, the show isn't. There's not that many episodes, so
because there's more other comedies. For sure. We watch other comedies and they do get into the character development of women. It's not like they never show character development. But in this show,
to answer the question, that's what I'm interested in seeing. Yeah, how about you?
All right. I mean, my one thing is with basically between mine and the husband. I'm not. Sure, why their relation?
They're not married. Yeah.
And then that's one of my biggest things is they don't really go into why they're not married and how they met, and is this just kind of like, was it a one night stand? Like, I just don't know how they got together.
That's an interesting.
I think it needs to kind
conclusion that you've made.
Yeah, I would guess it was a one night stand and they're just together because it's
they have a lot in common, though.
Oh, I mean, I know
they're both kind of
progressive
nerdy and quirky, and then
progressive.
And progressive.
They're definitely both progressive. So, but. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like they're partying.
I don't know if they're hinting to the fact that they feel like, because they are the Gen Z, right? That like, who needs marriage when you have love and honesty? And
that's
all of that stuff. And listen, different strokes for different folks. Everyone's got to. But
they need to explain that though in the show to make that should be put crystal clear, because they never even made that crystal clear. And there has been some jokes that, hey, this person's in the house and you're not married to him. But it hasn't been said. Why is that actually?
Yeah.
It would be nice for the show to kind of dive into that. So I guess that they need to dive into, I mean, in general, you say just mine needs character development, but I would say I think all the characters are going to need
I
a little
agree.
bit of
I think,
development,
to be
right?
honest, yeah.
They're all not, none of them are technically fleshed out at this point.
No, not at this point.
We're not too sure about them. We know like little hints of them.
Yeah.
It's like they answered a WokeNFree question before the topic started. It's like that. Like what type of popcorn you like. We know that kind of stuff. But we don't know.
Yeah,
like we don't know some of the
depth,
deep stuff. We might just know your favorite color, but
interesting. Yeah,
we don't know much about the character.
And like, do they want more
upbringing.
kids? I mean, like, it's interesting.
That's why I tell you, I'm pretty sure it's a one night thing, is what I would guess. It was kind of like a oopsie baby,
and he never left. I mean,
well, it was just like, well, you made some good enchiladas, so I'm going to stay here.
Okay, wait a minute. Khalil,
for the breakfast, you don't have enchiladas for breakfast. What do people eat? What I want to know what you eat.
Oxtail and rice and peas.
Oh, is that what you eat?
Yes.
Okay.
You
don't have tostadas? What is that though? What do you have for breakfast?
I have to look it up.
That's not something we eat? Okay. Well, instead of dealing with food, let us deal with scenario time. And I am not French.
Thanks.
Oui. just to let you not be surprised. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? It's scenario time, guys. Scenario 1. Renaud was supposed to renovate his daughter's house, which has been passed down through generations of family members. Renaud is broke, so cannot actually do it. Should he come clean to his daughter, or just make up as many excuses as he can?
Very reminiscent of the show, I see.
Does that actually seem like something that happened in the show?
Check out Lopez versus Lopez, and they will see. I would say, since he has been tasked with actually being involved with the renovation, and if he doesn't have the money to do such renovation, then that's why he must come clean about his inability to do such renovation.
That's a nice
in and of itself. Do you have to declare your brokenness status to people? No, not in and of itself. Oh, wow. However, if someone has asked you to they've asked to involve you in something, and your financial status is a big part of whether or not you'll be able to participate or not, then that's where you'll have to either explain and or gracefully decline such participation.
Oh, okay.
Or request for participation, because, whether people feel comfortable saying, hey, I have no money, or, this is not a good time. Thank you, but thank you and goodbye.
Yeah.
Either way, you're gonna have to say something. You have to pipe up. You can't just be like, cool, and then not show up with the tools. That's not gonna work.
All right. So he should come clean, or just say he's not willing to do it at this time. That's what you're saying? He
either comes clean and or say at this time he's unable to participate. Thank you and goodbye.
Oh, okay. I hope that there's no other follow-up questions to that, right?
He's an adult. He's not required to tell anyone anything.
All right. So, yeah, you could could leave it like that. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, I mean, I think, to me, the only choice here is to come clean. I don't think it's right to keep putting this off, because it's like a serious thing that you want to get done. It's not just for laughs and giggles. So let's just be honest right here. There's no point to make up all these excuses, because people are you're going to actually make them more mad, I think. But they'll all these different excuses come out. So just be honest, and, they can understand.
Hopefully.
And I say you can't say the thank you and goodbye. I think you just got to be real, about your financial situation.
I think the hard part is, though,
I need you to be straight up, just so the person knows clearly this is why you're doing this, and it's not, you're not just playing games.
I think the hard
That's
thing,
why I think
though,
you should be really just upfront and honest about this.
With children, though, the challenge of telling them your status quo of why you can't do something is that, especially whether your child is 5 or 55, is that you see your parent in a certain light, and when your parent says, hey, I'm falling short, I'm not going to be able to do this, it kind of diminishes your parent in your eye, right? And you start to look at them differently, because what's the first thing his daughter's going to say? You're going to start to think, well, how are you prioritizing your money? If she did this in a reasonable fashion, then she didn't just swing this whole renovation on him, but she probably gave him due time and notice to get prepared for such renovation. And so, depending upon when he comes back and comes clean to her, maybe maybe it's 6 weeks, maybe it's whatever. Like,
what if he made the promise to renovate and then she just held him to it?
Worse.
She just held
even worse.
Because now people say things in passing.
I'll do this, right? And then again, and then it comes how did you prioritize your funding? How did you?
Because some people just say things in passing, like, "Oh, I'm going to take care of all this. Don't you worry about it. I'll get it all looking great."
And then you went and you gambled all your money, or you lost all your money, or you spent it all in beer, or and it just becomes like your lifestyle and your life choices come up.
But what if the person invested in crypto?
That's unfortunate.
You can't laugh about that. See, now that's not a laughing matter. That is not a laughing matter.
God.
See? I don't know if you can...
that's an unfortunate situation.
Come on, people have done this.
I'm sorry.
Don't laugh.
I'm sorry.
Because this is a real thing.
But it's just like...
Come on, what's wrong? I didn't say NFTs or something. But I mean, I just as well could have. See? You just taking that one really far. Come on.
Because I'm like envisioning someone's like, "Hey, can you help me?" That's their response. It's not funny.
What's their response?
I can't because I lost all my money in crypto.
That's so wrong you saying that, but crypto, you can't say that. Crypto is the savior coin. It's a savior currency, and this is what you're laughing at it about?
No, I'm just like, it's not funny, but it's also like, what?
Oh, it just seems kind of like bizarre, right?
Yeah, it's like, here, I need your help, and you're like, oh, I just shot all my money up to the moon.
That's what they were hoping, right?
Like,
that's what people were hoping for, though.
Oh, God.
I mean, that's just funny that you feel that way about it.
Damn it.
Wow.
Well, it just seems wild that we're like living in this world, right? Because it's like one thing to say, oh, I lost it all in gambling, or I spent it all in booze, or I spent it on women, or, whatever. But now we have these like really wild ways of losing all of our money. And it's
you can invest in virtual things. That's
like,
basically, and that's something that there's no existence of it at all.
It's just like, I don't, like, I'm
but that's all I guess it's how you think of it. But yeah, I mean,
it's wild to me. It's just so wild.
At least
the
money can be
idea
printed.
of losing all your money is not funny. Like, I'm not laughing at that. I'm just laughing at the idea of how we, like, the different ways of now.
So, like, if you invested in like a Sims house or something, and then that house went to zero, you would think that's as crazy too.
I would just. Like,
people do sell that too. People sell houses in the virtual world too.
I wouldn't know how to respond to something. Like, I don't know what that means.
You couldn't hear that. You wouldn't know what to say.
I would have to really take a beat and just really wait a minute. Let me compose myself to get myself together to understand.
You couldn't just say like blockchain sucks, something like that.
I don't. Oh God. Oh,
yeah, can't you just say?
It throws me for a loop. It really does.
It's hard to hear it, right?
Like, I understand.
That's so crazy.
Like drugs and alcohol and prostitutes. I understand that.
Well, that's all physical stuff,
right?
Though.
Yeah, but this digital way of just being broke just is really wild to me now. I don't know. It just throws me for a loop.
I mean,
I guess because it's so intangible that it just seems like you're making it up. Like, and it's like, but did you really? And it's like, look, I have no coins. And
yeah, see, you can
like, I'm not talking about playing Monopoly. Like,
you can show the wallet. The wallet
exactly,
says 0. Yeah,
I'm just like, oh God. Or I lost my password, so now I have nothing.
Yeah, it's like, you lost your USB stick. I mean, there's different ways you can lose it.
It just seems so wild. It seems really wild.
Yeah, or you can have coins and they're not worth anything. Mm-hmm. That's possible too. So, but it happens. See? It's not just from physical goods. Mm-hmm. Scenario 2: Sheena was planning a birthday for her mother and booked a mariachi band to play music throughout it. She was discussing it with her sister, who said it would be better to use a local DJ. Her sister even said she's willing to take the planning out of her hands to alleviate any stress. Should Sheena be mad that her sister wants to take over?
That's interesting. So, I don't have a sister, so, I don't understand kind of contextually. I can only from afar, maybe intellectually, understand what that dynamic relationship could be, but I don't have a personal reference point there.
But even if you had a cousin or something that called you.
Yeah, I would say at the end of the day, I'm always a fan of people who want to lend resources or support my way and not just talk about it, but actually do it. So I would be a fan of it as long as whatever they say they're doing, they actually accomplish it. And it's in conjunction with whatever the person who this is for wants, right? So for their mother, if the mother really wanted a DJ as opposed to a mariachi band, cool. But if the mom really wanted the mariachi band, then no, like the DJ is not, right? The offer of the DJ is not getting the mom what they want, what the party is supposed to be for, which is to make the mom happy. So A, like, what's the intention of the mother? And B, is the sister really going to come through? Or is she going to be like, oh, I have a DJ, and then, well, what happened was, and then there's no music and everyone's just sitting in the room looking at each other, right? Super odd.
No, they can buy a Bluetooth speaker.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, but ultimately, I would say she shouldn't get territorial around the situation as long as her sister is not like a flake and is actually going to come through.
So
let her do it. Like, you know, don't take over. Don't get mad. As long as the mom would prefer DJ over mariachi and the sister will actually do it.
So don't be mad about it. Okay.
No, don't get territorial because it's like at the end of the day, more people supporting you is always a good thing as long as the support actually is delivered. If it's just rhetoric of support, then that's irritating and keep it to yourself, right? Like, oh, I got you. I love you. I'm always going to be here for you. And you can never find them nowhere. Like that stuff is super painful actually, because then you make people feel unwanted and you make them feel like they're a joke.
Okay. Now that's interesting. I do agree with you that she should not be mad that her sister wants to take over. But what I suggest is highly different than you. I suggest she completely hands it over to her sister and gives her all the glory. So meaning that any of the failures or any of the successes, she takes it all.
Okay,
yeah, so
that's interesting.
And I would let everybody know, hey, you know what? My sister's taking over the planning for my mom's birthday. It's going to be all in her hands, so she's going to get this set up for us. She's going to make it happen
too, right?
Yeah, and I would tell the mom too.
This is my sister's party.
If it's not a surprise for the mother, I would also let her know.
Send
your
a text
daughter,
message to everybody.
I would tell the mom, your daughter is planning your birthday party.
Everyone on blast.
Yeah, she is doing all the planning. Okay. Nothing is.
So if it's a complete
on me.
Like storm of madness, then.
But if it's an excelente thing, then your sister's got to give you credit because you let everybody know. So that it's all on her. I just put all the pressure on her, so she knows. Like if you ever, enough. So it's funny. This will decide in the future how things go. Do you ever want to take over again? Knowing what happened last time you partied, like took over the party. So that's how I would think of it. That's the best way to go. Just give people all the glory, give them the grace. You gotta let it happen. I wouldn't try to even jump in. If she asks for help, say, okay, I can help you.
The scenario requires prayer.
Yeah. It requires the G word. Exactly. Scenario 3. Karaima has a Hispanic heritage, but doesn't speak Spanish. Her parents did not speak to her in Spanish because they wanted her to fit in with the kids at school. Her longtime boyfriend has no Latino ties, but speaks Spanish fluently. Should she hide this from her grandmother, who doesn't know the truth? That
her granddaughter doesn't speak Spanish, or that she's with someone who does speak Spanish but is not a Latino?
Everything.
Oh, wow. Is the grandmother ill in any way, or is she, like, how's her health status?
She's a
vibrant older woman, yeah?
I wouldn't like to not call her older. I would like to call her, she's been around the block.
Seasonal.
Yeah.
Seasoned.
I don't want to refer to her as that, but she's been around the block.
She's not in any pressing health issues or any concerns?
She's thinking of investing in crypto.
Okay.
She's one of those types. Like, she's on
Wonderful.
it. She's a
timeshare too, right?
She sold her timeshares, yeah.
For a place in Meta.
Yeah.
Right?
She went to get the real. She's trying to jump into the metaverse.
God bless
She's
her.
One of those cool grandmothers. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't want to call her older.
Okay.
I don't want to call her older at all.
So as long as it's not going to create a medical issue for your family members. It's
well, like Ideal's meal?
Well, more so like you're actually going to go and have heart palpitations and stuff like that. You know, I just think that you should be mindful of people who are immunocompromised or are dealing with health issues. And absent those folks, then you should always feel free to share your truth. And if your grandmother does not know that you don't speak Spanish, then she must have not spent a lot of time with her, because that becomes usually very identifiable. If you, at least my context of understanding Latino culture is that, like, for folks that I know who've been Latin or of Latin background and their family members speak to them, they usually will speak to them in Spanish.
Oh yeah, this grandmother only speaks to her in Spanish.
Exactly. But
the parents don't speak to her in Spanish at all, so that's why she doesn't know it. But the grandmother.
But how has she been communicating with her grandmother then?
Because she knows sí. She knows how to say that.
Claro que sí. Claro que sí. Okay.
Yeah, she knows how to say a couple things.
Okay, muy bueno. So, you know, at the end of the day, if she's really in love or really proud of this boyfriend or longtime boyfriend that she has, and if she really does see a future with him, who cares what the grandma thinks or doesn't think, right? Like, at the end of the day, you gotta live your truth, and your boo is your boo, and you fall in love with who you fall in love with. So, at the end of the day, if she ended up being with someone who is Latino adjacent,
oh, wow. Okay.
In that they love the culture and they're like, I'm an ally and you know, and they're into it. Even if they're not from that culture, at the end of the day, you have to appreciate people who appreciate you and where you come from. And you don't have to only be with people in your community or where you come from. You have to love people who love you, and wherever that comes from, hold on tight to that. And so, you know, if her grandmother has an issue with that, she can just go ahead and say adios míos and go ahead and, you know, have that conquito or whatever and move on. Like, it is what it is. Like, you can't, I mean, what are you going to do? This is your boyfriend. He loves you. You love him. Keep it moving.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm thinking of it, yeah, because what I would say depends on the grandmother. So, if the grandmother's the cool grandmother, like I said, she's thinking about crypto and stuff, then I think she'll be fine knowing that you don't speak Spanish, because she's on current trends, right? But if she doesn't understand any of these new trends and she's still watching Westerns, then I think you probably don't want to bring up this stuff to her, because it might, yeah, I mean, I don't know if she's, you know, how long she's going to be with you, but do you really want to tell this to her, then like cause her to have a heart attack or something? So
that's what I asked you.
That's what you got to think.
Is she have any, you know, imminent health issues?
Because what you can do is you can have the boyfriend come in and he can have in like flashcards, and he'll use his phone. So when she talks, he'll show the phone to her and he said, this is what she's saying. And he'll only speak English to the grandmother. So the grandmother will think, or actually, I don't know. I mean, I wonder if the grandmother would be mad that he's not Latino. Or he could pretend to be Latino, but
that's not nice.
That's probably not the best, though.
No.
He could just, I think he just has to admit what he is, but I don't know if he should speak the Spanish in front of her, because that could be offensive, right? Couldn't it be?
Absolutely, especially if he doesn't have like an accent that is appreciated within that family and that culture. And every accent's different, right? Folks who are Puerto Rican, Dominican, Mexican,
I don't think he should be speaking it
in
front of her unless Karaima was more comfortable with that.
Yeah.
But I don't think
the other thing is she doesn't have to bring the boyfriend around, right? Like,
wow.
I mean, if she feels like it's going to create, to your point,
long-time boyfriend
drift, it is. But I mean, the grandmother's not going to live forever. So
yeah, that's the thing. It may not be worth it. It depends. But
it depends on how much heartache you want to deal with in life. Right?
Yeah, and it depends on how much you see the grandmother too. Because if you see her at every event, I mean, isn't it going to be hard to hide this?
It would be. But if you see her once a year or once every 4 years, it's not that deep.
Does it really matter? Like, does she really care to know? Does she have to know? Then it
depends on the relationship, depends on the grandmother,
yeah.
Which is sad,
it's definitely
because
dependent.
You would think that in life we could just say your truth is your truth and live your truth, but
some people it's
complicated.
It's a truth. I don't know who originated that statement, but it's like, you can't handle the truth, right? It's a true statement.
In this scenario, absolutely.
Can you handle the truth? It's a question. That some people can't. That's the thing.
If only you would
people
said that
think
in
that.
Spanish.
I know. I wish I knew how to say that.
I don't know.
That's a thing that could be added. I could say, ¿Dónde estás, man? That's what applies here.
Me llamo Natasha. ¿Y tú?
See. See.
Oh,
That's what I
muy
know.
bueno.
That's what I
muy
say.
bueno. Well, if we could, we would end this episode in Spanish, but more work to be done there.
Muy bueno.
Exactly. We are really at that time again. It's coming to the end of our 275th episode of Woke and Free. Totally thought you were going to say that in an accent that I would have screamed at you. If you had done
my
that.
senor accent?
Sí, señor. Pero this episode was quite wonderful, doing a Woke and Free review of Lopez versus Lopez. Now, Khalil, what do folks need to do?
Come back next week for the new Woke and Free Wednesday episode. Make sure you follow us on social media to follow along the conversation. And make sure you tune in next week for Woke and Free Wednesday to join the conversation at WokeNFree.com.
If you'd like to be a guest on the show, we are definitely considering folks who, for the 2023 shows, we are finishing out 2022 with just us, pretty much. So it'll be exciting to see what folks want to hit us up with. So where do you go? Our Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com. That's WokenFree.com. Hit us up on social media, on all the different platforms, again, at Woke and Free. And for sponsorship or collaboration ideas, hit us up on our Contact Us page at WokenFree.com.
If you didn't already subscribe, please do share the episode, and make sure you come back to join the conversation every Wednesday for Woke and Free Wednesdays. Remember, Woke and Free is more than a podcast, it is a way of life. Until next time.